Hey, it's Josh Phelan, and welcome to day 2 of Flow Hacker for Gym Goers Challenge. So today I want to go deeper into the idea of getting into a beautiful state of mind, getting into a peak state and starting from there before even stepping into the gym. And the exciting part too is that these principles, these techniques, these strategies, whatever you want to call them, that we're going to be going through, the exciting part too is that this stuff can also be used for other areas of your life as well. So you can also apply this right before tackling a big project or something for work, or even before planning a big family event or something. So these things apply across the board beyond just, pre-workout routine, I guess. So that's the exciting part. But yeah, I want to be able to dive into this, show you a couple different ways, have you pick one and practice it and see for yourself how you feel afterwards. So yeah, bear with me. Some of this stuff I know might sound a little crazy, perhaps. I have tried everything that we're going to be discussing, and I think it's great to have a lot of tools in your toolbox, essentially, because as human beings, we have, 6 human needs that we all are basically have to meet in some way, shape, or form. We meet them different ways, and we all will rank them differently. But the 6 are certainty, uncertainty, significance, love, and if people can't go or feel like they're unworthy of love, they'll settle for connection. And then finally there's growth, and number 6, contribution. And so a lot of times if you feel like you're having stuff dialed in most of your life and you're still feeling like you're just struggling, you're frustrated, chances are it's going to be one of those things that's really off for you, that you do find value in and you're not getting it right now in your life. So an easy example for this would be if you rank certainty very high for yourself and you need that in your life and you feel like everything is just up in the air lately, you're really uncertain what the future holds for you and your family or something, then that can just basically make everything else feel like it went out the window. Let's jump in. So one of my favorites is cold water. Like I said, bear with me. I know some of these ideas are going to sound like a stretch, they're going to sound a little crazy, but cold water has a ridiculous amount of benefits. I remember years ago, my wife ended up coming across some sort of article that claimed some ridiculous thing like you can lose X amount of body fat from just cold water exposure. And I'm talking, the suggestion was like 20 or 30 minutes a day or something, like 5 days a week. And so I was like, that sounds ridiculous. But as I read into it, it seemed like there was actually something there, and so it was enough for me to really consider, okay, well, my background in fitness and coaching people and training people and stuff, I don't want to try to say, hey, this might work for you to help lose body fat or lower inflammation, unless I actually know for a fact that it works and I want to test it and try it myself. So I did that, and I jumped into the ocean at least like 5 days a week, and this was over the course of 8 weeks, and each day I would aim for about 20 minutes each time. So it'd be 5 days a week for 20 minutes in the ocean, and this was between the months of like January, like end of January into March and April, somewhere around there. It was like 8 or 9 weeks, somewhere in those months. So anyway, during that period, I ended up losing 9 pounds of body fat without changing anything else. Still had my normal workout programming, still had my normal nutrition, eating habits and stuff. So I definitely leaned out. And the other thing that was really exciting is I noticed a lot less inflammation in my body as well, because the cold water, what ends up happening is your capillaries and such actually start to constrict, because your body's thinking, okay, well, it triggers a fight or flight response. So your brain's like, let's hold on to the most important things, all of your vital organs and stuff. So it stops rushing blood to things like your fingers and toes, and it gradually keeps on, circulating less and less blood the colder and colder you get. And this is something I would suggest normal person, please build up to this. Don't try to do something this crazy. The more I've learned, the more I found out that A, it's not for everybody, that's for sure, but B, there is hope, because I even recently came across, I think it was like 3 weeks ago, I found out 2 people that I had told years ago about doing cold showers and cold water exposure I finally just started recently doing cold showers as of a few months ago, and I was super excited to hear that. I was like, I had no idea this whole time I've been telling you, and finally, anyway, that was fun. But there are a ton of benefits to that. But the trippy part is, I believe I touched on this yesterday about how our body's kind of a chemical factory. And so when you step out of that cold water, I promise, this sounds ridiculous, but I promise this is true. There's been numerous times that after being freezing cold, and I'm talking shivering cold, like whole body uncontrollably just shaking, freezing cold, and I couldn't stop smiling. So your body actually, I forget all of the science and stuff, so I've read a couple books on it, and it's really exciting and fascinating too when you're able to apply something, learn it, and realize, oh, that's what's going on in my body. This is what's happening. That's why my fingers feel this way, and that's why they're turning white, and then the blood starts rushing back in, and things are actually starting to get stronger, and your body actually helps to reduce the inflammation, and those little things like capillaries, it's kind of like a workout for them. And so they literally are starting to get stronger, and you're doing that throughout your entire body. If you're into the water, there's no reason to get this super soaking ice cold and wet. If anything, I would suggest try to keep your head out of water if possible. It's not the worst. I jump under waves and stuff in the ocean, but again, there's no additional benefit really to submerging your head or anything. Plus, you really can't keep your head underwater for that long anyhow. Yeah, you're essentially teaching your entire body how to be able to do these things with the capillaries and such, which is going to reduce inflammation, reduce stress levels. Lower your cortisol. You're going to sleep better. Your libido is going to be better. Your mood will improve. And these are things that, especially done over a period of time, even just over the course of a few weeks. I'm not saying a long time. I'm saying within 4 to probably 6 weeks, you will notice a striking difference with how your body feels, especially if you're able to do the full submersion. If not, I still practice doing cold showers each day. It wakes me up really, really fast. It kind of gets me a little bit closer to the energy levels that my 1 and 3-year-old have when they're waking up early in the morning. So this way I can kind of wake up real quick and be ready for the day with them. So that helps, but that's one strategy, okay? The cold water. You can also use that for recovery as well, just simply as a recovery option, especially if you're trying to heal from something. That's another thing that I found to be super beneficial, because going back to the idea of capillaries and everything, the way that your body heals, the primary source, I guess, for this to happen is this rush blood to the traumatized area, I guess, for lack of a better description. But if you get a cut, your body rushes blood there. If you get hit, your body's going to rush blood there, even though there's no open flesh. So that's why there's bruising. It's old blood. So the idea with the cold water and such is to be able to help with that. I hope that makes sense. Ask me questions if you need more clarity with this kind of stuff. I know it's kind of a lot, and I'm trying to pack a lot in today, so I'm trying to go fast with this. So anyway, moving on to the next one, would be hot. And these are all strategies I'm referring to. So cold is one, the cold water, cold shower, cold water submersion. Hot is another one, and I'm talking about physically raising your body temperature. And there's several ways to do hot, obviously, such as just jumping into a sauna. One of my favorites, honestly, is I'll wear extra layers to the gym. So I'll usually go to the gym with like 3 or 4 layers on. I'll wear leggings, or maybe even 2 pairs of leggings, plus shorts, plus pants, 2 pairs of socks. I know I'm a little weird, but it's going back to the concept of not only building good routines and stuff and getting you mentally and physically ready, but it's also preparing your body to be really warmed up. Especially the older I've gotten, and I know I'm still super young, but the older I've gotten, I've realized that the warm-up is hypercritical, and especially with everybody I've trained over the years, I've learned that is imperative. If you want to keep people from getting injured, make sure that they're warmed up very, very well. Stretching definitely still has its place, but I would put warming up much higher on that level as opposed to just simply stretching prior to exercise. So anyway, the hot layers is one way to do it. That's personally my favorite way of doing it. You can do a sauna if you have access to that, whether at a local gym or in your house if you're fancy enough for that. You can do a hot tub. You can do, again, going back to the water idea, you can do hot or warm water. You can do a hot shower. And these are all ways to be able to essentially get you into a better state of mind prior to getting into your workout. Okay, so that's the concept here, is heating up your body and changing your state of mind. So we have cold covered, we have hot covered, and now another one is breathing sorry, I have my notes here. I just trying to go through, make sure not skipping anything, and that you get a lot of value from this. And so another one is breathing exercises. So for this, there's a couple different ways to be able to do this, as I'm sure anybody knows if they're using some sort of meditation app or something like that. You'll notice there are different strategies and techniques. Nasal breathing, you can do the single nose, inhale, exhale, or I'm sorry, single nostril. I think we all have one nose, but single nostril, inhale, exhale, and then repeat. Inhale, exhale, one side, and repeat. Inhale, exhale, one. So that's one strategy, for example. One that I like and that I use most is simply inhale through your nose as much as you can and let go. So you're not actually trying to force all of the air out of you to exhale, but you're just inhaling and then let go. So do that 30 times, and then after the last let go or exhale, hold your breath. And so the concept is to not push it. You're not trying to go and see your maximum breath hold amount. But what happened when you were inhaling and taking those full inhales and then just letting go and not fully exhaling is you're actually oxygenating your body. And so, again, I know this is going to sound a little crazy, but you can literally, as Wim Hof says, get high on your own supply. And so it's genuinely, yeah, I guess that works. It's a natural way of basically getting high. And so you can do a breathing exercise, and I promise within 5, 6, 7 rounds, somewhere around there, you're probably going to feel some tingles happen within your arms and legs. And the concept is to either sit still comfortably or lie down still comfortably. Please do not try to do this in a body of water or while driving. But you do your 30 breaths. After the 30th breath, exhale, and then you hold your breath. Okay, just that let go. So okay, and then you're trying to hold your breath. And so I'll hold my breath, and the idea is not to push it to as far as humanly possible so that you feel like you're going to pass out or anything like that. You're just going until you feel a slight discomfort or sensation. It's usually going to happen in the back of your throat or in your upper chest. And so once you get to that point, just take a nice big inhale and then hold it again, but the second time you're only holding for 15 seconds. After that, relax and do it again. So that's one full round. And so before working out, I don't always do this. Again, going back to that concept of having many tools in the toolbox, especially the 2 little ones. Sometimes I just don't have a lot of time. Today, my workout at the gym was less than 40 minutes. I just didn't have that much time today. So that's the idea, is to give you a bunch of different tools in your toolbox. You try them out. You find which one's going to work best for you, and then rinse and repeat. Try something else. See if that works. See if you like it, okay? So this breathing exercise might sound kind of crazy. It took me a while to actually go for it, to be honest. I had to do a good amount of convincing, or I had to have several people convince me before it, because I was like, breathing, whatever. And then I read like 2 books on just, the one is called The Oxygen Advantage, and another one, or 2 other ones are Wim Hof books. But it just goes into what's going on in the body and the benefits of nasal breathing and such. But when you do this and you do the 30 breaths like that, so you're oxygenating your body, and I promise you're probably going to feel amazing after you get done doing this. So try it for even just 3 rounds. See how it feels. Again, you're not trying to push it to the limit. You're not trying to hold your breath for the absolute max amount of time possible. You're just going until you feel slight discomfort, and it's usually going to be in your upper chest or the back of your throat. And then once that happens, you take that inhale, and then you hold for 15 more seconds, and then go back to your breathing and repeat. Okay, so again, I'll suggest first time doing it, try for 3 rounds. See how you like it. See how it feels. But I really, really want to encourage you to actually do this, okay? So your homework is going to be to pick one of these strategies that I'm talking about in order to get you into a peak state of mind and practice it. Let me know how it felt. Let me know how it went. How was your workout after you did it? Did you try the cold water or the hot water or the breathing exercise, okay? Another one that we touched on yesterday was music. And so music plays an important role. I made the crazy suggestion of putting one song on repeat to help get you into a state of flow and also to be able to keep you there. It blocks other things out. And certain songs is absolutely, I don't think will work. But other songs, and we're all different, but other songs you're going to notice this works. This, you can just repeat and you're just going to stay there. But again, the concept is we're all wired differently. What I suggest might work for one person and might not really work so well for you. So whatever you think you're going to gravitate towards or it's going to click for you, please try it, okay? I wanted to touch on this because even today I covered for my wife. She was working on a film with a friend, got back really late. And so I covered and taught her 2 early morning classes. And it's funny, there's just one person, and you know, we all have those days, but there can obviously be times where you're just really down and just, you know, we need some more TV, essentially. And I don't mean television, I mean transformational vocabulary, okay? More TV, transformational vocabulary. And so there's times where we might say things like, oh, man, this sucks, I don't feel good, my knees hurt, I didn't sleep well last night, and there's lists as long as you want it to be. And essentially one of my favorite silly kind of quotes, I guess, is that the only people that don't have any problems are the ones in the graveyards. And so essentially, if you're living, you're breathing, chances are you got problems, okay? We all have them, but when we continually exacerbate over them and repeat them and use really strong emotional words to that, it can also then have a downward spiral effect. So we need to be very careful about one of the most important conversations that we continually have in our lives, and that is the conversation that we have with ourselves, which is happening very, very often, because all thinking really is asking and answering questions over and over again. And so we will, a typical person I think is around like 30,000 thoughts or so a day, and I've heard the number skewed a few times for how much are repeated, but I want to say it's somewhere between around like 80 to 60% of our thoughts are pretty much like the same ones over and over again. So we need to be very careful about how we're showing up before our workouts. And again, this can go beyond the workouts, beyond the gym. That's kind of the concept here. But we need to be very careful with the language that we're using to ourselves, you know, because I even have heard some people, you know, mind you, I'm talking about like grown men saying things to themselves like, come on, you little bitch, and just talking very harshly to themselves as far as like during the workouts, or just like that role play that's going on in their heads essentially. And I think you have to become more aware of that and catch it. That's kind of step one. And then step two is kind of rewriting that script, because a lot of times what will happen is we'll look at a past failure, a past time that something didn't work out for us, or a time that we got injured, or a time that we didn't know what we were doing while working out, and we looked silly and we felt embarrassed, and now we feel ashamed, and then we repeat those things over and over in our head. And so we're like, oh, well, I'm not going to try that again. And it's like, well, hold on. Is there a benefit to that? What if you tried that? What if you got better at it? What if you loved it? What if you enjoyed it? What if you made friends from it? You know, there's so many other possibilities. We need to be very careful with what's going on right here, okay? And we need to just, step one, become aware of it. Step two, start rewriting that script. And then step three is reinforcement. And that's where that will usually happen, is that you're going to get some friends or family or some sort of support or mentor or coach to help dial that in, if that's the case, to really get that script rewritten essentially. Because another way to look at things, is instead of, oh, this happened to me, another thing is this happened for me. And so there's another big idea strategy here, and that is state story strategy. Yes, state story strategy. And so first step is get into a beautiful state of mind. Second step is to rewrite the story. Third step is apply a great strategy to help you get there, okay? So that's kind of bigger picture. That's what I help a lot of people with. But anyway, going to the story part, the second component of that, that's going to be, what's that story that you've told to yourself over and over again about why you can't? And if you've ever trained with me, if you ever worked out with me, because I know some of you have trained with me for over 10 years, which is awesome, you know I'm a stickler for the word can't, okay? Big reason for that is science has actually proven that what we believe to be true, like, actually starts to take place at a cellular level. So biologically speaking, your body will not act in a way that is incongruent with its belief system consistently, okay? So what that means is, if you're trying to convince yourself and fight for your limitations, I guess, if you're trying to continually convince yourself why you can't do something, why you're unable to do something, what obstacle is standing in your way or holding you back or keeping you from reaching that destination that you're after, if you continually repeat that over and over and over in your mind, your body will not, and I mean scientifically, I guess, cannot do that thing. And so I think it's so imperative that we try to just remove that C word out of our vocabulary completely. And this goes way beyond the gym, of course, because I really think your brain's going to work differently when can't is not an option. Because if it's an option, it's an easy out. And your brain just goes, oh, okay, well, that's the result for this. We can't do it, so let's move on. And your brain's okay with that. But if can't is not, and you're like, okay, well, how can I? And you keep on meditating on that, and you keep on thinking about it, and you keep on looking for answers, and you keep on asking for help, and you keep on trying to come up with a solution, guess what? Your brain will probably find one. This thing is super powerful. I think we've only tapped into about 2% of what we're capable of, though. And yeah, there's just, I think the transformational vocabulary, or TV, as I like to call it, we really do need more of it, and we have to even sometimes just affirm those things out loud, believe them, and then share that vision with other people. So if you have close people in your life that you want their support on, share with them your big goals that you're working towards, and ask not for their permission, not for their help necessarily, ask them for their support, that they will support you with this. Because when that happens, amazing things can start happening and unfolding. So the big concept is to first become aware of what it is that we're saying to ourselves on a regular basis, and the second part is to start rewriting the script, and the third part is to reinforce. Okay, so this is when we ask for support, get other people, encourage us. Okay, be careful of what we're putting into here, and be careful of what we're allowing into here. One thing my dad always drilled in my head was trash in, trash out. You know, so if you're constantly putting negative things in here, I mean, it's only going to overflow and come out of you, because you don't have these things in place already, this belief system, this faith within yourself, this ability to realize that you can do these amazing things, okay? I strongly believe we all have these gifts, these talents, these skills and abilities that we are blessed with, and some that come later, and you know, one of our biggest fulfillments essentially is to use those gifts and help other people, okay? And so, like I shared with you yesterday, that's, you know, one of the big reasons why I'm here. I want to be an example to my boys and share, you know, as oddball of a skill set as this may be, of getting in the flow before getting into workout. I really think it's something that for some people it's going to be absolutely life-changing when applied. And so that's my goal here, is to be able to share that with you, and hopefully create a new spark within you to be able to make it happen. You know. But I also wanted to cover, Des asked a great question. Need a motivator, need a push, looking for how to push myself. Okay, and then the second part about food. So, wanted to address that specifically. need a motivator, need a push. There's two types of motivation. There's push and there's pull, okay? And so the push motivation is essentially going to be something that is outside of you, okay? For a very general term, think push motivation outside of you. Pull motivation is inside of you, okay? It's not something that you feel necessarily like you have to, in the sense of that it's a chore or a task or another to do or another, it doesn't necessarily feel like work, okay? So when it's a push motivation, it's gonna feel like it's work, okay? That's kind of the big differentiator. Pull motivation, you're gonna feel compelled. You're gonna feel like, I need to do this because it's great for me and I get a lot of benefit out of it. Okay, so going back to those 6 human needs that I discussed earlier, we have certainty, uncertainty, significance, love, growth, and contribution. One thing that they have found is that people that have good habits and then also just good routines and such, is that those things within their routine check a lot of those boxes, at least, especially the ones that are more important to them. Okay, so out of those 6 boxes that I just mentioned, certainty, uncertainty, significance, love, growth, and contribution, working out, like me going to the gym and working out, for me, it checks just about all those boxes. Let me explain. Certainty. I know what I'm doing at the gym. I'm certain I'm gonna have a good workout. I'm certain, like, I know how I'm gonna feel afterwards. It's gonna be great. I've done this a long time. Certain about that. Uncertainty. I don't really know what I'm gonna do that day. Honestly, I don't plan out a ton of stuff. Like right now, I have a pretty normal routine in the sense that, like, I know what parts or what the theme is of that day, but I don't have the exact reps and exercises and everything like that dialed in just yet. And so there's a sense of uncertainty for me, which provides a sense of novelty, because each day I can kind of make it totally brand new, which is exciting. So for me, I've already checked 2 of my 6 boxes, okay? And then significance. As silly as it sounds, I kind of get that because when I go to the gym, I'll have other people, because I also have relationships. I've been there a very long time. And my wife and I actually met at the gym that I work out at. So anyway, I have a lot of relationships there too. So there's also that sense of significance. People see me and like, oh, hey, how you doing? How the kids? You know, there's that, that sense of, oh, I remember Josh from way back then, and now he's done these, like, I don't know, it's a cool kind of thing. I'm having a tough time trying to describe that, but I know I get that from it. So that's the 3rd box out of 6. And then 4th would be love. And if it's not love, it's connection. Hey, I met my wife there, and sometimes we work out at the gym together. And then, and if it's not love, it's definitely connection. I certainly get that. And then number 5, growth. I'm consistently growing, not necessarily physically, although sometimes that is a byproduct from my training and stuff, but I am growing as a person, because you're consistently putting yourself through little challenges with each workout, with a new sense of adversity almost daily, you know. So there's definitely some sort of growth going on. And then contribution, that'll happen as well too for me at the gym, from being able to talk to other people and then being able to help them sometimes with their workouts. You know, people might come over and ask me something, or, you know, vice versa. So that can all transpire just with that. And so a big part, to try to bring all this back together, so a big part with the pull and the push is you have to understand, why are you there? Okay, so consider those 6 things that I went through: certainty, uncertainty, significance, love, growth, and contribution. And what is it about working out? And it doesn't necessarily have to be going to the gym specifically, because I don't know how you work out. It might even just be going for walks. Awesome. Walking is super underrated. I wish more people walked. Anyway, out of those 6, what do you need more of? Or what can you get from your workouts? I want you to think about that. And then another little strategy is to journal through this process and ask yourself, and the magic number seems to usually be about 7, that you ask yourself why. So when working with somebody, I might say, okay, why do you work out? And there might be, typical answer: lose weight, feel better, lose fat, lose inches, something along those lines, right? And then we say, okay, why do you want to lose the inches? That's the second question. And then we do that again for the third, and we do that again for the fourth. Then we go about 7 layers deep, and usually around there, that's when you actually start getting to the heart of the matter. That's when you actually start to find out the emotional reason, because human beings are logical, sort of, but we make a lot of big decisions from an emotional standpoint. So if you can get emotionally tied or emotionally invested into why you need to have great workouts and why this thing called health and fitness and such needs to be so important to you and imperative, when you can get that dialed in and you have a big enough why, you're going to be able to tackle just about any how. Like Viktor Frankl from Man's Search for Meaning. He was a Holocaust survivor, and he wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning, and essentially he shared that same little gem of wisdom, that is, if you have a big enough why, you can bear almost any how. So I want to challenge you. If you're already not 100% sure on what your why is, get clear on that, okay? I think that should be homework number 1. And then homework number 2, bonus homework, is going to be to practice one of these strategies on getting into a beautiful state of mind. So we talked about cold water, something to literally lower your body temperature. Hot water, sauna, something, hot tub. You can even, simply going for a run is going to raise your body temperature, get you into a better state of mind. So things like, doing the elliptical or even a spin bike, something maybe a little bit more passive or a little bit more friendly on your knees, might be suitable before you work out, because you're raising your body temperature. Now you're also going to get some endorphin release too, to get you into a better state of mind. So these are all kind of ways of practicing getting into a better state of mind before actually even stepping into the gym or starting a workout per se. And then part 2 for Des, in regards to the food, one of the big things that I noticed to seem to be doing really well for a lot of people is either the meal prepping companies that will deliver the food to you and already have your meals suited, and it can either be for you or your entire family. With all your daughters, I don't know if you'll do that, but I would suggest either that as an option. If not, you can also have your groceries delivered. And yeah, it's a couple bucks, but the other thing you got to think about too, even if you are concerned about that, is how much more money you're going to be saving, because you're not going to get a bunch of last minute crappy junk food items that you shouldn't be purchasing anyway. So things like that are going to be more beneficial to be able to have your stuff dialed in. You can see it, as you're shopping, and make sure it matches up with whatever your meal program is, or if you're on some sort of diet or you're trying Whole30 or something like that. So this way it's a little bit more easier, I guess, in a sense for some people. But those would be the 2 big things, because as much as people say, we're creatures of habit and stuff, another very big contributing factor for us as far as our level of success and what we're able to get to is going to actually rely heavily on our environment, because willpower can work. Absolutely, willpower can work, but over the long term, willpower pretty much will fail you 99% of the time. Very few people are going to be anomalies and the exception to that rule. But for the majority of us, if we want to really dial something in, we need to change our environment around us. And here's a brief example of that. If you're an Olympian, or if you're training to be in the Olympics, and you can't be eating junk food, and you're working out 6-7 days a week, and recovery has to be important, and you have to have your nutrition dialed in and everything like that, do you think if you're going for gold and you're an Olympian, or you're one of the best in the world, do you think you're going to have some M&Ms in your cabinet, or some ice cream in the freezer, or a bunch of beer in the outside fridge or something? Like, things like that, that's what I mean, is remove it from your environment. Okay, so get it out of the house, get it away from you, make it hard to get to. Or if you want to take a break from it, then at least give it away, to cook a meal and get rid of it and have everybody else eat it. But That's a big part, is controlling that environment around you to make success inevitable, essentially. Otherwise, it's an uphill battle, all day long. Like, let's say you have a goal of practicing guitar. You've never played guitar. I know, Des, I'm not talking to you anymore, but imagine you're a person that has never played guitar, and you want to practice. You want to get better. So, first thing, kind of obvious, you need to buy a guitar. Imagine if you don't get a guitar and somebody tells you that they want to get better and they want to practice every day. What would you do? You'd probably laugh at them, because you realize, well, step one, silly, you got to get a guitar if you want to practice every day. So same thing for you. If you want to eat good, you better have good options around you every day. You have crappy options around you every day, guess what's probably going to happen? You're probably going to make those crappy decisions, even if it doesn't happen every day. And so that's what I'm talking about here, is creating an environment that supports your decisions. So this way you're outsourcing your future decision making. Now it's not hard to say, oh, I'm going to eat an apple instead of the chocolate covered pretzels or something, because you don't have chocolate covered pretzels, you only have apples, okay? So that's the concept here, is to build an environment that supports you and it supports your future decisions, it supports your vision, it supports your goals. So you have 2 pieces of homework today, because the goal with this challenge is I want you to actually do something. I don't want you to just get more and more information, okay? If we all just need more information, we'd all be millionaires with 6-packs, okay? We don't need just more information. We need application. I need you to apply, okay? So information or knowledge is not power. Knowledge is the potential for power, okay? So I know you just got some good stuff up here, hopefully, from our time together, but now I want you to apply it. So number 1, if you don't already have your big why, and I want to share with you mine real quick. My why for working out is simply an example. That's my why. In one word, example. I want to be an example to my boys and the people around me that I get to, affect their lives. I don't want to do things just do them or have shallow means for it. I want to do it to be able to inspire and help other people. And so that's where my why comes from. I want you to find yours, okay? And then part 2 for your homework is practice one of these things. Try it. Today, tonight, tomorrow morning, try one, okay? Whether it's the hot, the cold, you got some music, you're trying a song on repeat or something, you're doing the breathing exercises, something that we discussed, okay? And if you have questions, please ask them. I cannot read your minds. You can text me, you can email me, you can comment under this video, you can go live in the Facebook, okay? Whatever, but please give me some feedback. I want to build this around you. I want to provide for you. I want to give you a lot over this week together. Thank you so much.